Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Melissa and I'm a nursing student. Now, before I get started with today's video, I do want to give a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video. Today's video is in partnership with one of my favorite jewelry brands, which is Ana Luisa. Ana Luisa crafts high quality jewelry pieces at very affordable prices. Their jewelry pieces are unique and elegant. Ana Luisa is also carbon neutral with both their packaging and their products, so it is great for the environment. Their packaging is also reusable. Anytime I travel with my jewelry, I always place it in an Ana Luisa bag because their bags are durable, thick, and they are so adorable. Ana Luisa was kind enough to send me 3 pieces of jewelry, which I have truly been enjoying. They are each dainty, stylish, and extremely high quality. Mother's Day is coming up, and I do plan on giving my mother a pair of their earrings because I know that she will love them. Now, Ana Luisa is having a sale right now going on for Mother's Day, so if you want to get a gift for your mom, your grandma, your auntie, a special woman in your life, or even just a gift for yourself, you can head down to my description box down below. I will go ahead and put a code there so that you can get a percentage off of your purchase. So now to get started with today's video, if you have not seen my previous videos, then you may or may not know that I attend Chamberlain University. I'm a nursing student and I attend their evening and weekend BSN program. I just finished taking mental health. So if you attend Chamberlain, that is NR 326, I believe. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to be talking about my experience taking lecture. If you want to hear about my experience taking lab, you can go onto my channel, and that is actually the last video that I uploaded. And as of me filming this video, I'm filming this video prematurely. By the time I upload it, I will be on spring break, and so I just want to take a break. So I'm actually filming this video a little bit early. I have not taken my final exam yet, so I don't know what grade I got in the course, but by the time this video is uploaded, I would have gotten my final grade. So I will go ahead and put it down in the description box below. And by the grace of God, I passed the class. So just like any class at Chamberlain, if those of you are not familiar with Chamberlain's layout, my school does not have traditional 16-week semesters. It's an accelerated year-round program. So instead we have super condensed, fast-paced 8-week sessions. So each course is only 8 weeks opposed to a traditional 16-week course. So mental health is a difficult course in my opinion. And it can be easier depending on what professor you have, just like any other course. But what made this course so difficult, in my opinion, is the medications. So in mental health, in the class of mental health, there are a few different main portions and components. Of course, there are the actual diseases and disorders that patients will have, and that may or may not be easy just based on your background and how much you may know about different mental health issues. And then there's more of like the patient rights section. For me, that is easy. Body autonomy, patient choice. Patients, even if they are dealing with the mental disorder, still have the right to choose whether or not they want treatment and medication. That part is easier for me. What was difficult for me was the medication, because each of these mental disorders have medications. The medications, of course, just like any medications, have side effects. It can just be a lot to remember. So in my opinion, if you're someone that's not super strong in pharmacology, like me, unfortunately, this class will not be the easiest course for you to take. So now I'm going to get into the actual classroom portion of the class. And then after that, I'll talk about exams and quizzes and homework assignments. But for the actual class, I attend the evening and weekend program. So I have classes in the evenings and I had to go to campus. It was in person. I went to campus 2 nights a week, and each class that I had was 3 hours. So I went to campus, we had lecture, and we really didn't do many group assignments. That of course just depends on like who your professor is. Some professors may do breakout groups and whatnot, but this was a course that I had to go to campus for 2 nights a week, 3 hours each. So what was interesting about this class was the class size was smaller than, it was like a normal class size, but before mental health, I took med-surg. So we call it adult health at Chamberlain. There's med-surg 1 and med-surg 2, otherwise known as adult health 1, adult health 2. That class, those 2 classes were the biggest classes that I've taken at Chamberlain in terms of how many students were there. I was in this like bigger classroom, and the class size was almost, it felt like double of what it had been for all of my other classes at Chamberlain. And so there were a lot of students taking med-surg in my cohort. And so what was interesting about this session was that everybody that was taking med-surg or adult health 2 last session was kind of split. So the cohort was kind of split in half. half students were taking mental health along with me, and then the other half, I believe, were taking pediatrics. And then after mental health, I'm going to be taking pediatrics, and the half of my cohort that was taking pediatrics, they're going to be taking mental health. So it's kind of like we split up, and the next session we're going to swap. But all of that is to say, my class size was like cut in half to what it was last session, which I found very interesting. I'm not sure why they did it that way. I found it very interesting, but I like smaller class sizes, so for me that was a plus. Now, when it came to exams and quizzes, just like every course at Chamberlain, pretty much, every nursing course anyway, you're gonna have 3 exams in this class. So I've mentioned this in my previous videos. A couple sessions ago, I stopped having midterms. So in the past, I would have exam 1, exam 2, which was a midterm, and I would have my final exam. In this class and in med surge, I had 2 exams really that was given by my professor. I had exam 1 and then I had exam 2. Exam 2 was the final. And then instead of a midterm in week 7, I took a CMS. So I took a standardized exam that my professor did not make, Chamberlain University didn't make. It's a standardized exam, and my professor just served as the proctor. So really this class kind of only had 2 exams, and then we had the CMS. And then in addition to those 3 major exams, the very first night of the course, just like every nursing course, we had to take a MedCalc exam. So once you get to your nursing classes, and I cannot remember whether or not I mentioned this in a previous video. Sorry if my camera angle is a bit off. My battery died and I had to go replace it. But I believe what I was saying was once you get to your nursing courses at Chamberlain, you do have to take a MedCalc exam the first day of class for every single nursing class that you take. So every 8 weeks, every 2 months, you're going to be taking a MedCalc exam, and each class that you get, so farther as you get farther into the program, the exam gets harder and harder, and you need to have a higher score in order to pass. And the MedCalc exams are extremely important because if you do not pass your MedCalc exam, you fail the course. So you need to pass the MedCalc exam in order to be able to go to clinical and administer medications at clinical. If you don't pass the MedCalc exam, you cannot administer medications in clinical. If you can't administer medications in clinical, you fail the class. Luckily, you do have multiple chances to take each MedCalc exam. So if you fail it the first time, you have to go through remediation, which is a long, extensive, annoying, but useful period. I have actually failed a MedCalc exam once. I had something going on in my personal life, and so I was just very distracted when taking the exam. I didn't brush up on my med calculations before taking it, so I ended up failing the exam the first time, and I had to do remediation. As annoying as it was, and as tedious as it was, it actually was very helpful, the remediation. So I don't mind that, and I appreciate the fact that we're able to take it more than once. So if you don't pass it the first time, you can do remediation, you can take it again. So there's not too much pressure there, but it is something to be mindful of. And I would advise before you start any nursing class at Chamberlain, always just brush up or do a quick review, even if it's just the night before, of medical calculations so that you can pass your exam and just not even have to stress out about it. So like I mentioned, there are the 3 exams. There's the 4th exam, which is the MedCalc exam that you take night 1, and those are all the exams in the class. When it comes to quizzes, I had 5 quizzes in this course, and the quizzes were administered, it was kind of administered throughout. Quiz number 1, I think, was given in week 2, and then the 5th quiz was given in week 8, so the final week of the course, and then the rest were kind of sprinkled in. This was the first session at Chamberlain where we had to take our quizzes in person, and I don't think that that was my professor. I think that that was like a campus-wide policy, possibly. In the past, we were able to take our quizzes at home, and we would take it in a computer monitoring software. So as a lockdown browser, we couldn't like open up any other browsers. We had to have our camera on, so you couldn't be cheating or anything like that. And you would be able to take your quizzes on a weekly basis. For this class, my professor made us come in and take our quizzes. For the most part, it wasn't bad. We took it the exact same way that we would take it at home in the exact same lockdown browser while our computer monitor was on. The only difference was that we took it inside of the classroom so our professor could watch us and make sure that we were, you know, engaging in academic integrity. I'm not sure if there were issues with cheating, or I'm not sure if they're just trying to I don't know. I don't know why, but that was what we had to do. And the quizzes were always administered on a class day. So we would come in, we'd start the class taking our quiz, and then if you finish your quiz early, you could kind of go out into the hallway or go into the student lounge to grab a snack and just respectfully let other people finish their quiz in quiet. And then after everybody finished their quiz, we'd have like a 5-minute break, and then we'd all come back into the classroom for lecture. Now, when it comes to homework assignments, we did have EDAPs in this course, which, you know, you all know how I feel about EDAPs. I will say I made a video dedicated to EDAPs and how I feel about it. You can check that out on my channel. I did make that video a while ago, probably over a year ago at this point, and my feelings about EDAPT are still mostly the same, but I will say now that we have more information on what the next gen NCLEX or the NGN is going to look like, it does seem like EDAPT, if you use it, you know, if you learn from EDAPT, it seems like it will help you with the next gen NCLEX, because it does seem like the NCLEX is kind of structured the same way as EDAPT. But the EDAPTs in this class I thought were heavy. We had EDAPT assignments that we had to do every week. We usually had about 3 modules that we had to do, 3 EDAPT modules that we had to do each week. And then within those modules, there was just a lot. So that is something to definitely brace yourself and pace yourself if you're going to be taking this class. And then in addition to the EDAPTs, we did have ATI assignments. So I believe we only had 3 ATI assignments, but they were long. So all 3 of our ATI assignments were video case studies. So we kind of watched multiple videos within each ATI assignment. And after every video or every other video, we would have to like answer a series of questions. And so it was like a pretty cool interactive case study that we had to do. And those were all 3 of our ATI assignments. The only difference was that each ATI assignment covered a different issue. And I'm not going to mention what those issues are because I never ever want to enter the realm of cheating. And one thing that was different about ATI assignments this session, because in the past I've never had to do this, is that we had to do an S-bar or an IS-bar with the case study. So of course in the case study you get a patient and you get a scenario, and for this course I had to actually print out an IS-bar and I had to fill one out as a nurse for the patient in the case study. And you had to handwrite it. So that was something that I'd actually never done before. And so it was more work. It was an extra step. But to be honest, I didn't mind it. I actually like hands-on work that, like, we're going to be filling out S-bars once we go to the hospital. So I actually like that they are incorporating that more into the didactic portion of our classes just to give us more practice. So in addition to the EDAPs and the ATI assignments, of course, we had our RUA, which is a required uniform assignment. If you're not familiar with what those are, there's an RUA due in each nursing course at Chamberlain. And what that is, it's typically a paper that you have to do or a PowerPoint or a group assignment that you have to present to the class. But it's kind of like your big project for the session. And so for this course, it was a paper that we had to write. To be honest, in my opinion, this wasn't bad at all, but that's because I'm good at writing. I'm not going to tell you guys what the topic of the paper is or anything like that, but I will just say, at least for me and my professor, it was only like a 3-page paper, not including the title page and the reference pages. It was a research paper, so you have to do research for it, but it wasn't like it was like a 10 or 15-page paper, so I don't want you guys to worry too much. We also had 2 ATI practice assessments. So the exam 2 that we took, which was a standardized exam, in order to prep for that, we did have 2 practice exams that we had to take on ATI, and those were not graded. You're just supposed to complete them. Really, they're to help yourself, but they're not graded. So you take the assessments. They're each 60 questions, I believe. So it does take time, but it is structured the exact same way as the actual proctored exam will be. So they're 2 practice exams. They're treated as homework assignments that you're supposed to do. And then after you do the second practice assessment, it gives you like an analysis or a report of areas that you need to improve on and areas that you did well on. And so you have to do a binder assignment for all of the areas that you need to improve on. So there are templates that you'll fill out. If you have not gotten to your nursing courses yet, your professor will go over it in better detail than I can go over it in. But you have to hand write kind of like a remediation for all of the areas that you were weak in exam 2 or the practice exam 2. It's called like practice exam B. But your binder assignment is you doing handwritten remediation for the areas you need to strengthen yourself in. and then you put it in one big binder that will help you prepare for the NCLEX. And so that is pretty much everything that this course entailed. This was the only course that I took this session because now I'm at the point in my program where I transferred in with so many credits. Thankfully, I'm done with all my gen ed credits, all of my general education credits, and I only am going to be taking one class at a time until graduation. And so that one class is going to be my nursing course, the didactic portion, and then the clinical portion. So that is it. Next session starts in May. I will be uploading this during spring break. So the first week of May is my spring break. And I thoroughly plan to enjoy that and just rest because I really, really need it. And then once I come back for the summer, I will be taking pediatrics for 8 weeks. And then after I'm done with that, I will be taking maternal health or maternity, which I'm really excited about. To be completely honest, I'm not super excited about pediatrics. For one thing, I've heard it's a difficult course just because like there are different vaccination charts for different ages and there are different medications and different dosages because you're dealing with little people instead of an adult person. And two, I like to keep an open mind about what specialty I may go into once I become a nurse. Like I don't want to go into any clinical site just like completely closed off to it, but I will say out of every specialty there is in nursing, pediatrics is the one that I'm pretty confident I am not going to go into. So I always tell you guys, try to go to clinical with an open mind, even if it's an area that you think you're not going to want to work in. You never know, you may go to the clinical and fall in love with it. So I'm going to try to take my own advice and keep an open mind about pediatrics. But that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching if you made it to the end. Also, if you have not checked out Ana Luisa, like I mentioned earlier, I will have a discount code in the description box below so you can go ahead and get a discount on your purchase. Definitely check them out for their Mother's Day sale while it's still going on. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.